Hello everyone, this is Dr. Shishma Sarila, consulting homeopath at Fiticus Homeopathy. Today we are going to discuss about stress and fibroids. See, does stress directly cause fibroids or is there any indirect route? Is there any connection between stress and fibroids? What are the types of stress and how is stress related to a lot of other lifestyle disorders? We will be discussing all of this stuff in today's video, and also we'll be discussing on physical as well as psychological or mental stress also. So let's dive into the topic to know more about it. What is stress? See, we all use this word stress so frequently. Nowadays, it's like it has become a common word. Even laymen use stress. Even people who are like educated use stress. Doctors use stress. All people are also suffering from stress. So let us know what stress actually means. In a psychological point of view, if you see, stress can be defined as a feeling of emotional strain or pressure. It's a feeling of emotional strain or pressure because it is a psychological response to a challenge. It can be anything. Psychological response to a challenge, psychological response to an event or an incident, anything. That emotional strain, whatever you're feeling, or the emotional pressure, whatever you're feeling, is called as stress. It can be triggered by various events, depends upon the susceptibility or how each person sees that event. Now let us know what are the types of stress. There are different kinds of classification for stress, but today we are making it a little bit more simplified so that you can understand. We are dividing it into two parts. One is the physical stress and second one is the psychological stress. So what is physical stress and what is psychological stress? Physical stress is something where the body is under a certain pressure, either it be because of some illness, because of an accident, injury, some sort of tears in the body, or because of exercise or workout, especially high intensity workouts. Okay, so does even exercise count as stress? Yes, body perceives exercise also, especially high intensity workouts, as stress. But doctor tell us to do workouts, right? So if the body is considering workout or this exercise, especially high intensity ones, as stress, then why should we work out? We will get to know all of this stuff as we move on further into the topic today. But right now we are going to discuss about the psychological stress, and then we'll go further into the topic. We'll be discussing about how this workout or the physical stress is good for the body. So psychological stress can be divided into three parts: the acute one, the episodic one, and the chronic one. What is an acute stress? For example, you're going on a bike or you're going in a car, you're going somewhere, you're traveling somewhere with a vehicle, and suddenly some bull or an ox or some person comes in front of you and you have to hit brakes, right? This minute increase of the stress hormones can be perceived as acute stress. For example, you're going somewhere, you're taking a walk by and you suddenly spot a cheetah or a tiger or a lion or something which can harm you, and suddenly your feet start having that muscle power and you start to run, or you start to think logically or where to hide, and or search for a good hiding spot or how to escape from that animal. This perceived acute phase is called as acute stress. Okay, and the second one is called as episodic stress. What do you mean by episodic stress? These episodic stress can be perceived in people especially who are doing desk jobs or who have deadlines or who are working in the stock or who are actually studying. For example, if you're someone who has deadlines every month and you do not work properly every day, you're not doing smaller tasks so as to complete the larger task, but you're lazy throughout the month, and by the end of the month you have to submit something or you have a deadline and you start working like crazy, or you do not sleep or eat well for couple of days. This episodic phase, wherever it is triggered by an incident where there is a deadline, you have to submit something, and you have had an unhealthy lifestyle all throughout, you have had a lazy lifestyle all throughout the month, and this 2 days you have to work out, you have to finish out the 1 month's work, that is perceived as episodic stress. But if this episodic stress stays on for a longer period of time, that is, if you're not doing the smaller tasks and you're only working by the end of the month every month for couple of years, then that can also be perceived as chronic stress. The next kind of stress is called as chronic stress. If you're someone who has lost a loved one, who has had a recent heartbreak, or if you're someone who has financial issues, if you're someone who's looking for a job and you're not finding it, you've worked for 2 to 3 years, you're trying to find a job, you're doing all of this stuff, there's some sort of an event in the life of a person where its effects continue for a year or so, or more than a year, then that is perceived as chronic stress. Now you understand how these three are related. That is acute stress, when you're seeing something, for example, you see someone fall on the street and you have that stress or strain on your body right away, and then it subsides after 10 minutes. For some people it subsides after a day or so. You have seen some horror movie and then you just feel so upset or strained about it, and then it fades away, right? But that's acute. If it is episodic, then every monthly or every 15 days you're having a deadline, you have to submit something. And chronic, for more than a year or so. So these are the types of stress. Now let us know how the stress will affect the hormones and what hormones are released during stress. We can classify them, or come down to make some points where we can discuss it in a much more easier manner. The first one can be hormonal changes due to chronic stress, impact on the reproductive system, and then other hormonal disruptions that are happening in the body, and mental illness formation. So we are going to discuss about these 4 points in particular, and also we'll be explaining them in detail. See, whenever you have stress in the body, we have something called as hypothalamus, or if you're not well acquainted with that term, we'll just use that there are some parts of the brain which do respond to the stress. And how do they respond? How does brain know that we have stress, right? See, for example, you're having a deadline, you hear about the deadline, your ears perceive it and send a sensory signal, the brain perceive it, and then it becomes stressful. For example, you see a tiger, for example, you see someone you love with other ones. You see that picture is taken from your eyes into your brain, and then the stress starts, right? For example, you hear a bad news, for example, you hear a news that you are not expecting, something, for example, you touch something which is not good, something too hot or something too cold, that sensory input is taken through the skin, right? So the sensory inputs are taken, they are processed in the brain, and this stress is perceived by the brain. If you have this chronic stress, what happens? The brain will perceive the stress, it will keep rewinding what is the stressful event, it will brood on it, and after brooding on it, it will release, during this process of stress, it will release a hormone called as cortisol hormone. This cortisol hormone, if it is acute in nature, for example, you have to push on the brakes if you see a person, or if you have seen a cheetah or a leopard and you have to run, or you have to hide somewhere, you have to have logical reasoning, right? And also you need power in your muscles to run from a certain kind of animal, right? So whenever cortisol is released in the body, you need muscle power, so the blood sugar is kept on high. So this cortisol will help in keeping the blood sugar high in the body, so that while running your muscle can consume the sugar, right? And next, it will alert you, wherein the digestive power will decrease and your muscle power or your alertness will increase. Your eyes will dilate because there is adrenaline rush also, and then you will start to think in a cognitive, and then your cognitive functions all are heightened, okay? And you see better, you visualize better, you think better, your logical reasoning is better. This is the acute phase of the cortisol. It helps the body. But what happens if the stress is continued, if you're brooding on some stuff, if you're rethinking the same bad thing that you've heard or that you've seen or that you're feeling? You have, sometimes some people have this feeling that somebody is cheating on them, they have a feeling that something bad is happening. When you start to brood and overthink that thought a couple of times, your brain will perceive it as stress, and if it is a longer period of time, it is chronic, right? And during the chronic stage, the cortisol, which is supposed to help the body to cope up the stress, will start to affect the immune system. That is why people, especially conditions like psoriasis, rheumatoid arthritis, all of these conditions, or SLE as such, occur in patients or occur in people who have anxiety or who overthink a lot or who are oversensitive to the surroundings. This cortisol, what it makes is, in the acute phase it will help the immune system, but in the chronic phase it will deteriorate the immune system, where thereby you will be getting these autoimmune diseases. Apart from that, what does this cortisol do? Whenever there is stress on the body or stress perceived, the body will think of preserving. The only motto of our brain or of our body is to preserve the body, right? So what it does, it will perceive it as famine condition. If you are in depression and you don't eat properly, or even if you are eating for a very small quantities also, how the brain will perceive it? It will perceive it as famine condition, and whatever you are eating it will store in the form of fat, so that your body can run for a longer period of time even in this famine condition. So whatever you're eating will start accumulating in your belly. That is why people who have high cortisol or chronic stress will have belly fat. They'll have fat in the hip area, especially women. And also, what does this cortisol do? It will maintain that high blood sugar rise in your blood vessel, right? And if that high blood sugar level is risen continuously in your body, it can lead you from a no diabetic stage to pre-diabetic stage, from pre-diabetic stage to a diabetic stage. And if not controlled by medicines, or if your chronic stress per se is not taken out, it can go into uncontrolled diabetes. This is how people with stress have or get these lifestyle disorders. And today we are talking about fibroids, right? So how are these fibroids formed? Cortisol will cause some reaction and thereby it will cause fibroids. This whole reaction I'll be explaining it to you in the next slide. Let's dive into the next one. Now we will see what are the consequences of this high cortisol rise or this chronic stress as such. The first and foremost is we are dividing these into physical, mental, reproductive and other health related issues. What happens in your physical aspect? You start accumulating fat, you become obese, your lipid level is risen, hyperlipidemia will be there, grade 1 fatty liver can be perceived, chronic stress can be perceived, you have high bursts of energy along with a very low sugar level. Sometimes the sugar level drops so low that you feel like sweating, you feel sweaty, and then you just feel dizzy, you have vertigo symptoms, and then after that, soon after eating again you feel high. This fluctuations also will happen. And apart from all of these symptoms, you will be having headaches, as we have already discussed, insomnia. You will not be feeling sleepy during the night and you will sleep it all throughout the day. You can have dry mouth with small ulcers in it, where there is riboflavin deficiency also, because your absorption capability for the nutrients decreases. You'll have fatigue, you'll have muscle tension. Especially note down that people who are suffering from chronic stress will have muscle tension, especially in the neck area and also in the lower lumbar region. So that is, involuntarily we clench these muscles, we strain these muscles whenever we are in stress. That is why even people who are younger in age develop this cervical spondylitis if they are under chronic stress. Okay. And then skin will also start reacting in a very bad manner, where your IgE levels, your eosinophils are increased even to a normal dust. Even when you're starting to pet your pets also, that can also cause a rash in your body. And then your digestive system is always upset. You can experience symptoms like irritable bowel syndrome. You can experience symptoms like acute gastritis, gastroesophageal reflux disease, or GERD as such. Your BP is high and heart palpitations are continuously there, and you can experience either migraine type of headache, tension headaches, or even headaches due to cervical spondylosis. These are the physical symptoms that you will be experiencing. Apart from that, you will be experiencing mental symptoms like you will have days where you're very happy, or hours where you're very happy, followed by depression, followed by weeping, brooding, and then again it will again you feel like you don't care anybody in this world, and then again you will go, this cycle will go on again from feeling like I don't care about anyone to an anxiety phase, from the anxiety phase to the happy phase to the weeping, the brooding phase, and this cycle will continue. There is too much of mood alterations during this chronic stress. Even something which is not supposed to will hurt you because of your hormones. And then we have this reproductive issues. Remember, cortisol will cause a difference or disruption in the hormonal balance of the even in the females as well as in the males. In the females, how it is causing we will be seeing in the next slide, but just remember that it can cause fibroids, new formation of fibroids, or increase in number of fibroids, or increase in size of the fibroids. Along with that, it can cause irregular periods, or too much of period, that is too much of flow in the period, metorrhagia, that is period in between two periods also. So these are the reproductive issues, and also your fertility rate can be decreased. Other health issues like grade 1 fatty liver, or you can experience hypertension, you can experience diabetes mellitus. All of these are the symptoms of stress. Now let us see the relationship between cortisol hormone and fibroid formation or reproductive system dysfunction as such. As you can see here in the picture, I've told you that there is a part in the brain called as hypothalamus and pituitary also, right? So whenever there is perceived stress, either by hearing, by seeing, by touching, or by feeling the sensation, or having a dream about something, all of that will cause some stress on the brain. It will release CRH. What is CRH? corticotropin releasing hormone, it will stimulate the pituitary gland here, and the pituitary gland will release ACTH, which is adrenocorticotropic hormone. This adrenocorticotropic hormone will stimulate the adrenal gland on the kidney, and the adrenal gland will produce cortisol, which is a corticosteroid or a steroid hormone, and it will usually in the acute phase, as we have already discussed, it is good for the body in a threat condition or in an acute condition or in an episodic condition. But if the episodes are continuous in nature or if the stress is chronic in nature, this cortisol will cause disruption in the estrogen and the progesterone level. And in part 2, the cortisol is the factor why we are having belly fat, right? Because there is a lot of fat in the body, estrogen will be produced in the fat also, that is E1 will be produced. You will be having estrogen dominance. Whenever there is estrogen abundance, the progesterone, even if it is a normal level or if it can be decreased also, will cause this irregular periods like PCOD. It can cause fibroids also. If you're already suffering from fibroids and are having chronic stress, remember fibroid have efficacy for this estrogen hormone. So whenever estrogen increase, they will tend to grow a little bit larger, and fibroids, n number of fibroids or new fibroids also can be formed, and this fibroids will cause other symptoms. So this is how the cortisol will cause disruption in the female reproductive system. And also remember, high estrogen will cause or can cause LH FSH disruption also, and in males it can cause testosterone dysfunction or testosterone decrease, where male patients can experience oligospermia, which is less count of sperms, azoospermia, which is no sperms in the semen, or there is necrospermia, where the sperms in the semen are dead. So these are some of the effects of cortisol on reproductive system. Coming to the homeopathic part for treatment of fibroids or the stress condition as such, remember that even though two people are suffering from financial crisis, one might completely abandon themselves from their relatives or their family members. The other person might share a lot and cry in front of people. So people react differently even though the situation is same. So in allopathic form of treatment, they might be giving you counseling sessions which are really helpful. Apart from that, they will be giving you beta blockers, or they can give you antidepressants, wherein most of them are for sleep. They will induce sleep, so that while sleeping your body will be at stress and the stress will reduce. But in a longer term, remember that people who are using this anxiety medications will also have hormonal disruptions, and also sleeping for a longer period of time isn't going to get you anywhere at life. But in homeopathy, we have drugs for different kinds of situation. It can be a situation where you are financially at loss and you start crying. You are financially at loss and you have separated from your people. You have lost a loved one and you're crying a lot. You have lost a loved one and you have become an introvert. You've lost a loved one and you're brooding a lot. Or if you're someone who is experiencing, any kind of issues, where any kind of stress, we have medications for different kinds of stress. So by giving these medications, the body's immune system will start coping up. Your stress levels will come down, and also your affinity to this autoimmune diseases, to this fibroids or to this PCOS or any mixed diseases can also be decreased. We will be giving you medication for your mental as well as your physical aspect. So here homeopathy will treat you holistically. The medicine will heal you in a timely fashion. Your symptoms, it can be fibroids, or even it can be just psychological symptoms. They will decrease. Your present symptoms will decrease. You will be relieved of your present symptoms. You will be cured in a timely fashion, and also further recurrences can be prevented. Next, coming into the precautionary part. If you have seen the whole length of video, you will be understanding that we have talked about physical stress. Here we are talking about physical stress which is caused by workout. For stress reduction, we need endorphins, cortisol and other neurotransmitters. Cortisol, yes, we need cortisol to decrease stress. So how to do that? Whenever you start working out, especially high intensity workouts, what happens is that body will start acclimatizing to that situation or to that stress, and it will understand how to wield it. Okay, it will understand how to yield the body to the stress which is continuous in nature, and it will regulate that cortisol hormone release also. If you're working out, you should work out in three manners. First one is, you should have a cardio workout or high intensity or endurance workout where your lung capacity is increased and your heart capacity is increased. Second one, you should have balancing workouts like either Pilates or yoga asanas. Third one you should be doing is building muscle. Remember, cortisol has a rise or gives a rise in the blood sugar. This rise in blood sugar, especially people who are suffering from diabetes mellitus, should try it out. They should try to build muscle. Whenever you're building muscle, now this blood sugar is absorbed, in a much greater or a faster fashion. Sustained blood sugar will come down. Your glucose spikes will come down. So if you're starting to have this chronic stress or developing symptoms of chronic stress, try to work out. The workout should be a combination of high intensity endurance workouts, balancing workouts, so as to improve your cognitive and your perception and your proprioception. And third thing is building muscle. Make a workout which has combination of all of these three and see the results in 3 to 4 months. Next, precautionary measures. You will see that if you start working out and taking homeopathic medications, your estrogen abundance or estrogen dominance will decrease, insulin resistance will decrease, and testosterone level will be, maintained in a good fashion. Thyroid hormone, especially thyroid hormone, is one of the hormone which is also affected by stress. Many people who have chronic stress or experiencing stress will have hypothyroidism. Many people are at risk. So this also will come down, and other hormones like, for example, your FSH, LH and other hormones also will be on a normal range. Your parathyroid gland also will work properly, your adrenal glands will work properly, your ovaries will work properly. So all of this will come into normal balance. Apart from working out and taking homeopathic medication, you should eat good, and also you should try to sleep well. Especially people who are in reproductive age should sleep for women especially should sleep for 9 hours, and men should sleep for 8 hours. And then there will be regulated menstrual cycle, and also your body will be able, even though you're facing this chronic stress, the body will be able to alter this cortisol release, and it will help you in becoming a better person and creating a healthy life. What happens if you neglect this? See, if you're neglecting your fibroids, the fibroids can grow in size, it can multiply, and also it can go to a stage where it can become cancerous. Although this cancerous condition is rare, fibroids can multiply, and also if the fibroids are caused due to hormonal imbalance, you can experience symptoms like, or diseases like, polycystic ovaries, endometriosis, adenomyosis, bulky uterus, or even dysmenorrhea. And even men can experience oligospermia, azoospermia, necrospermia also, and even erectile dysfunction as well. So if you are someone who is experiencing chronic stress, take doctor consultation as soon as possible, and do not take this situation very lightly. If you are someone who is experiencing fibroids or chronic stress, infertility issues, male and female infertility issues, abortions or miscarriages, if you're someone who's experiencing bulky uterus, if you're someone who's experiencing endometriosis, adenomyosis, dysmenorrhea, or polycystic ovaries, remember Fideicus Homeopathy is the answer. Here we have two kinds of consultation. One is online, and another one is offline consultation. If you're someone who's staying near the nearest branch of Fideicus, you can come and contact us offline or in person. If you're someone who's staying far away from us, you can contact us online. We have two options in online. One is the audio consultation option, and one is the video consultation option. After the case taking is done, if we need any further investigations, we will let you know, and you can share the investigations which you have already done to us. And after this whole procedure, especially to the online clients, medicines will be door delivered to you. If you're staying in India, it can take 3 to 4 business days. If you're staying in USA, it can take 3 to 5 business days. And if you're staying elsewhere across the globe, it can take 4 to 8 business days for our medicines to reach your doorstep. If you want to contact us, you can call us on this number, WhatsApp us, or ping us or message us on this number. If you want to know more about Fideicus Homeopathy, you can check our website www.fideicus.com. If you're someone who's suffering from fibroids or infertility issues, male or female infertility issues, miscarriages, or if you're someone who's suffering from bulky uterus, endometriosis, adenomyosis, or dysmenorrhea, or any other female reproductive organ issue diseases, you have seen that how homeopathy is much more helpful than allopathy in this kind of diseases. And now we are going to discuss why Fideicus Homeopathy is much better than other homeopathic institutions or other homeopathic doctors. Because Fideicus Homeopathy stands for highest chance of health. Here we are already experiencing good success rates in treatment of male and female reproductive organ diseases. Apart from that, the transparent treatment, there is no gray area between the patient and the doctor. The prognosis will be clearly explained to you. And the personal care here at Fideicus is top notch. Any sort of queries or questions that you have, we will be busting all of that and educating you on that. If you want to choose health, if you want to choose cure, choose Fideicus Homeopathy. Thank you.